Hey guys, tonight we're going back, way back, to mud floors, sour beer, and mornings that start with animal sounds and joint pain. This isn't the medieval fantasy from storybooks. It's the kind that smells like goats and feels like cold dirt under your feet. And the worst part? It's not even an unusual day. Just a normal Tuesday in the year 1325. So dim the lights. Maybe pull that blanket a little tighter. And let's walk through one full day you were never meant to survive. You wake up to cold and noise. It's not a gentle rise into the day, not a moment of peaceful awareness. You're snapped awake like a stick underfoot. The air is damp and sharp, stabbing at your nose the moment you inhale. Your chest tightens as you pull in another breath, and it tastes like ash and mold and old wool. The fire must have died hours ago. The embers no longer glow, just a black heap of spent wood and smoke that curls in the dark, crawling along the low ceiling. Your feet, if you can call them yours, are numb. You shift your legs, slowly, cautiously, feeling the stiffness of your joints. The blanket, if you want to dignify it with that word, is no more than a sackcloth draped over you, damp from last night's fog, and crusted with whatever spilled from the ceiling or crawled across it. It clings to you like wet moss. You slept in your clothes again, because you always sleep in your clothes. There's nothing else. And even layered in wool and linen and mud, the cold still finds your ribs. You shift slightly, hoping to warm one side of your body with the other, but it doesn't work. There's no warmth to trade. Above you, something creaks. Not the ceiling, but a body. Maybe your cousin, maybe someone else's child. They're all just bodies in the dark. You hear breathing, uneven and close. Someone is snoring. Someone is coughing. Deep, rattling, wet. It doesn't stop. It just goes on, like a rhythm the house was built on. The room smells of unwashed feet and fire smoke and bodies that haven't left this space in months. You lift your head, but your neck resists. It cracks audibly, and someone stirs near your side. The sound of shifting straw follows, sharp, itchy, close. The straw under you feels flatter than yesterday. You swear there were more layers before, or maybe they were just drier. A toe brushes your calf. You don't know whose. You don't ask. There are no beds. There are corners. Whoever gets the wall sleeps warmer. You weren't near the wall. You never are. The cold rises from the dirt floor, climbs your spine and settles at the base of your skull like a weight that won't lift. You pull the blanket up and feel a scab tear off your elbow. You flinch, but stay silent. Outside, the rooster screams. Not once. Not politely. It screeches like it's angry to be alive. You hear it echo across the village, others replying just as furious. A dog barks once, then again, and then starts howling like it's arguing with the rooster. Something wooden crashes, maybe a bucket, maybe a door in the wind. And that's when you hear the wind itself, threading through the cracks in the walls, under the door, through holes in the thatched roof. It sounds like the whole house is breathing in with you, or against you. Cold slips in through every seam. Your fingers fumble under the cloth for your shoes, but they're not there. Of course they're not. You kicked them off in your sleep, maybe, or someone else moved them. You'll find out when you stand, barefoot, on the floor. The chicken coop is quieter now, but not silent. You hear a low flutter, a cluck, and the heavy step of someone moving near the door. Not leaving, just shifting. No one wants to be the first outside. Not in this cold. Not when yesterday's mud is still stuck to your toes. You sit up, finally, but your spine punishes you for it. It pops and groans, like a floorboard in the rain. Your shoulders are tight, your jaw locked. You open your mouth and stretch it like you're trying to pull your own face into the day. It doesn't help. The stiffness has already settled in. You'll walk like an old man for the first hour. Someone farts. Someone swears. A baby whines and is hushed with the sound of a cloth and a mutter. No one speaks in full sentences. It's not morning talk. It's survival noise. You rub your eyes, but it only spreads the itch. Everything itches. Your scalp, your chest, your wrists. The lice are already awake and they don't wait for permission. You scratch out of habit now, not to solve anything. You just make red where there was pink. A bowl tips over. Someone curses. Someone else laughs quietly, bitterly. You stretch your legs and feel the dirt floor beneath your feet. It's not cold. It's wet. You step anyway, and the day has begun. Not with light, not with hope, just with movement. You don't even know what day it is. You just know it's yours to survive. Your bed is rotten straw full of lice. It isn't bedding so much as a nest you share with the past 2 seasons of insects and everything they've left behind. The straw is flattened in places, bunched in others, and damp no matter what you do. You shift your weight and it crinkles, not with softness, but with the brittle snap of broken stalks and sharp pieces pressing into your skin. Your back aches in that dull, familiar way, like it's forgotten what softness even feels like. You don't remember the last time you lay on anything that didn't itch. Bits of straw cling to your clothes, and some find their way into your sleeves, your collar, your hair. No matter how often you shake out the mat, it never gets better. The lice don't care. They're always there, always crawling. They live in the seams of your shirt, along the edge of your waistband, in the warm folds behind your knees. You've scratched yourself raw in your sleep again. Your fingertips find new scabs along your ribs, fresh and crusted. You don't even bother looking anymore. You already know what you'll find. You scratch without thinking. Your fingers go to your ribs, your hip, your thigh. Anywhere the itches never really leave. You've learned the pattern. 2 fingers scratch while 1 eye stays open, watching for movement, for spiders, for mice. The lice don't wait for you to be awake. They start their work the moment your breathing slows. You've seen them. Little pale specks near the seams of your tunic, marching along your skin like they own it. You kill one and 3 more take its place. There's no such thing as clean. You haven't felt clean in years. You don't even use the word anymore. You've bathed in rivers, in basins, in barrels of rainwater, and always, within the hour, they come back. Your tunic is part of the problem. You've worn it every day for months. It smells like mildew and sour sweat, and something else you can't name. You once tried to wash it, and it took 4 days to dry. You can't spare 4 days, so you wear it, and you scratch through it, and you bleed through it, and you sleep in it, here on straw that smells faintly of mold and definitely of piss. Sometimes, at night, you feel things move beneath you. Not around you, beneath you. The ground is dirt, packed tight, but the straw cushions it just enough to make you forget for a moment, until something shifts. Not like the creak of a person, like the ripple of something burrowing. You never look. There's no light, and no use. If it bites, you'll feel it. If it crawls off, you're lucky. You pull your cloak tighter, bury your face in your arm, and hope it doesn't come back, and hope is thin here, like the blanket that pretends to be one. You've mended it 3 times. The holes come back faster than you can fix them. Someone else's knees poked through them last year. Now yours do. The fire doesn't reach this side of the hut. You sleep near the door, the coldest spot. That means the draft is yours. The rats are yours. The sounds in the wall are yours. You once saw something with too many legs crawl over your shoulder. You didn't scream. You just brushed it off and turned the other way. There are no good sides in this bed, only different kinds of bad. So you shift again. You curl your legs to your chest to make less contact with the bedding. It works for a few minutes, but your knees hurt now. You stretch them out again. A splinter jabs your calf. You grit your teeth. The hut is silent now, not quiet, just between noises. Someone snored 3 minutes ago. Someone will cough again soon. The stillness is the strange part. You lie flat, staring into the black, counting how many times you've turned over since sunset. The number doesn't matter. It always feels like too many. You've never fallen asleep gently. You crash into sleep like someone pushed you off a ledge. And sometimes, just before it happens, you wonder what it would be like to sleep on feathers. You've heard of such things. Nobles, maybe. Rich merchants. Beds with layers, with wool stuffed into linen. Pillows that aren't just folded cloth. It's hard to picture. Your mind refuses to shape that fantasy. It replaces it with images of straw, of crawling things, of sharp pieces against your shoulder blades. So you lie still again. You scratch again. You pull the scratchy edge of the blanket over your mouth and try not to breathe too deeply. The smell is worse inside it, but it's yours. This is your bed. This is where you live, where you wake, where you itch, where you begin your day already broken. You need to go relieve yourself. It's not a decision so much as a necessity. Your stomach churns from the leftover porridge, or maybe from the water, or maybe just from everything. There's no toilet, no outhouse, no seat, no door. There's a pit behind the hut, if it's not frozen, if it's not full, if someone isn't already there. You sit up, scratch behind your ear, feel something move and swing your legs out from the straw. The floor is as cold and wet as it was yesterday, maybe wetter. You stand on it with a quiet hiss through your teeth. The pain is sharp but expected. You reach for your shoes and find one under the straw. The other takes longer. It's soaked through. You force your foot into it anyway. There's something squishy inside. You choose not to know. You drape your cloak over your shoulders and step toward the door, which doesn't close so much as lean. You push it open, and the early air hits your face like a wet slap. You're already shivering before you've left the frame. You duck under the low doorway and push into the foggy grayness. The ground outside squelches. It's mud, mostly. Some of it is waste. You try not to look too closely. You've stepped in worse. The cold hits different out here. Sharper, wetter, like it wants inside your lungs. You wrap your arms around your body and take slow steps away from the hut. There are people already moving. A woman squatting behind a fence. A child trying to clean his feet with a stick. You see eyes from the next yard watching you. There's no such thing as privacy. Not here. You walk along the edge of the path, trying to avoid puddles that aren't just water. The morning mist clings to your face like a second skin. Your fingers are numb again. You tuck them under your armpits. A dog trots by and sniffs the ground you just crossed. You hear chickens somewhere nearby, their clucking low and mechanical. You reach the side of the hut and see that someone's already beaten you to the usual spot. A fresh pile steams in the chill. You nod to yourself, then keep walking. You find the corner you used yesterday. It's not private, but it's shaded. There's no time for privacy anyway. You squat low, balancing on your heels, trying not to fall backward. Your knees creak, your back pulses. You're not old, but you feel like you are. The ground is already marked. Stains, scraps, flies. You add to it. There's no paper, just moss or hay or your hand if it comes to that. You try to be quick, but quickness doesn't help the smell. It curls around you like steam. You hear someone cough not far off. They probably see you. You don't care anymore. You stopped caring months ago. Everyone does this. Everyone knows. Everyone stinks. You reach for a handful of weeds, hoping they're not nettles. They're not. You wipe. It doesn't help much. Nothing really does. A breeze picks up and your cloak flaps open. Your backside tightens from the cold. You're done, but you hesitate to stand. It's the worst part. You shift forward, plant one foot, and use a nearby post to pull yourself up. Your knees tremble from the effort. You stand slowly, knees cracking, trying not to step in what you've just left. Your foot finds a sharp stone. You hiss, but stay silent. You look down and see nothing. It's too dim. But it's done. You shake out your tunic, adjust the layers, and walk back toward the hut. There's a moment where you notice how the mist softens everything. The houses, the mud, the filth. It almost looks peaceful. Until someone yells. Until a dog barks. Until your foot sinks ankle deep in something you hope is just mud. You curse under your breath. You wipe it against a rock, then keep walking. A neighbor nods at you. You nod back. No one says good morning. You reach the doorway again. The hut smells worse from the outside than it did when you left. You pull the door closed behind you, though it doesn't latch. Inside, it's still dim, still loud, still cold. But it's home. You scrape your feet on the floor and return to your spot in the straw, knowing full well you'll need to do it all again tomorrow. Hands in the bucket. Wash with water a chicken probably used. There's no basin, no soap, just a bucket, carved from wood and blackened near the bottom, filled with yesterday's water, or maybe the day before's. It sits beside the door, half covered with a rag that does nothing but trap the smell. You lift the cloth, and the scent escapes like it's been waiting. It's a mix of old eggs, sour milk, and something faintly metallic. You look down into the bucket. The surface of the water has a sheen, not of oil, but something like it. A thin skin of dust and specks floats on top, broken only by ripples from your breath. You dip your fingers in first, slowly, letting them adjust. The water is cold and somehow thicker than you expect. Not dirty enough to throw out, not clean enough to trust. You scoop a handful and splash it against your face. It hits you like melting ice. Your lips tighten, your eyes close, and the chill slides down your neck and into the collar of your shirt. Your skin tightens, not from cleanliness, but from shock. You do it again. The water runs down your cheeks and drips from your chin onto your tunic, leaving dark trails in the already stained fabric. You blink against the sting. Your eyes water from the chill. You rub your hands together, then your face again, trying to chase the grease from your skin. It doesn't work. The dirt moves, but it doesn't disappear. It shifts places. A smear from your brow ends up on your nose. You look at your hands. Your fingernails are black with whatever you did yesterday. Bits of soil, resin, maybe chicken feed. The tips of your fingers are raw from scraping rough wood. You try to scrape your nails clean on the edge of the bucket, but the grime holds on. You sniff once, hard, and wipe your nose with the side of your hand. Then you shake the water off your fingers like a dog shakes rain. A quick flick that doesn't help much. The floor by your feet is already dark with splashes. You wonder who else used this water. You think you saw someone rinse a bloody rag in it yesterday, or maybe the day before. The bucket sits on uneven ground, so every time you move, it rocks. You grip it with one hand to steady it, and scoop again with the other, this time lifting water to your scalp. You pour it over the back of your head. It trickles down your spine and you shudder. The chill hits your lower back like a slap. You rub your scalp with both hands, fingers catching in tangles you haven't combed in a week. Your hair smells like smoke and barn. You can't remember what it's supposed to smell like. You shake your head once, droplets flying, and hear them land on the wooden slats behind you. Somewhere outside, a rooster calls again. Somewhere inside, someone coughs so hard they choke. You splash water on your neck, under your jaw, behind your ears. You don't know why. Maybe just to feel something. Maybe because it's the one part of the day that feels like a ritual. You look down at the bucket again. It's lower than before. The sediment at the bottom swirls now. Bits of hay and skin and ash mixing into a cloud. You wonder how long before it becomes unusable. You wonder what unusable even means here. Your sister's already done. She scooped hers before you. Her face is red from scrubbing. She walks away with the bucket sloshing in her hands, heading to dump it outside and fill it again, if the well isn't frozen. You consider helping, but she's faster than you. You always were slow in the morning. Your joints take time to remember their work. You step away from the door, wiping your face once more with your sleeve. It smells worse than the water. You look at the bucket space. A chicken struts by, pecking the dirt, then hops onto the stump where the bucket usually rests. You don't stop it. You just watch. It kicks over a bowl with its foot and clucks twice, proudly. No one reacts. You step back inside the hut and pull the door behind you. The air in here is warmer now, but not cleaner. Your face is still wet. Your hands, too. But it's not clean. It never is. The water isn't about hygiene. It's about pretending. About marking the difference between sleeping and surviving. You dry your hands on your tunic and prepare for the next thing. Always the next thing. The day has barely started. Breakfast. If yesterday's porridge is still there. There's no fire lit yet. No fresh smells wafting through the hut. Just the stale scent of boiled oats left out overnight, and the sour memory of yesterday's heat. You crouch near the hearth and lift the lid of the pot. A crust has formed on top, thick, rubbery, uneven. It wrinkles when you touch it with the spoon. The spoon itself is bent from overuse, carved from wood, and darkened from years of the same motion. You break the surface of the porridge and stir slowly. A bubble forms near the edge, then pops without sound. Under the crust, the mixture is uneven, part glue, part water, part something else. You hold your breath against the smell, not spoiled, but not right. The color is gray. Not gray like stone or ash, but like something tired of being food. You wonder how many mornings this pot has seen, how many mouths it's fed, how many didn't eat at all. You scoop carefully, trying to avoid the worst of it. You spoon some into a shallow bowl, or maybe a chipped bit of pattern that used to be a bowl. The texture is like mud, clumpy in places, watery in others. No one stirred it before you. No one added anything. There's nothing to add. You sit near the wall, cross-legged, and blow on the steam that isn't really there. The porridge is lukewarm at best, sour and bland, but your stomach doesn't care. Hunger strips away taste. It leaves only want. You chew slowly. The oats stick to your teeth, your gums, your mind. You swallow without savoring. Beside you, someone coughs into their hand and wipes it on their tunic. Across the room, a child licks a bowl clean, not out of joy, but because it's all there is. You keep eating. The second bite tastes like the first, but colder. You shift your weight and feel the crunch of straw under your knee. You take another bite. You're not full, but you're eating. And for now, that's enough. You reach for the cup beside you. Not really a cup, just a tin without a handle. And take a sip of the beer. It's flat and warm, brewed months ago by someone you vaguely remember. It smells like apples and sweat. You drink it anyway. It does what it's meant to, fills the space. You wash down another bite of porridge, scraping the bottom of the bowl with your spoon. You get more wood than grain. Somewhere across the room, someone else is eating too. They're chewing, soft and constant, like the sound of someone grinding teeth in sleep. A fly lands on your spoon. You flick it away and keep going. You tell yourself it's better than nothing. And it is. But only barely. The beer leaves a bitter film on your tongue. You swish it once, then swallow. There's no water. Not this morning. Someone dropped the bucket yesterday. Someone always drops the bucket. You chew slower now. Not because you're satisfied, but because you don't want to finish. Once you finish, there's nothing left to do but work. You finish slowly, not because you're full, but because there's no rush. Nothing to run toward. The day is already waiting, patient and hard. You set the spoon down and wipe your mouth with your sleeve. It adds another streak to the ones already there. You look back at the pot. There's more, but not enough for everyone. You leave it. Someone else will come. Someone else will scrape what you didn't. You stand, knees stiff, and place the bowl near the fire. Maybe it'll get warm again later. Maybe not. You don't hope for things like that anymore. You glance at your hands. They're sticky from the oats. You rub them on your trousers. It spreads. You don't care. The air smells of porridge, smoke, and the start of labor. You take one more sip from the tin, then place it upside down on the floor, away from the rats. You look around the hut, faces half awake, jaws moving, eyes blank. This is breakfast, not a meal. A pause. A moment of stillness before the next hardship begins. You get dressed, or rather tighten the same reeking sack you slept in. There's no wardrobe, no choices, just layers of the same thing, stacked on the floor or hanging from pegs that no longer hold their weight. Your tunic lies in a heap where you dropped it last night, stiff at the collar, damp at the hem. It hasn't dried, of course, nothing dries. The air inside the hut is thick with smoke and cold, and the walls sweat when the night is wet. You pick up the tunic and shake it once. Flecks of straw fall out. Something else, too. Maybe a beetle. You don't check. The sleeves are inside out again, and the neckline smells worse than your breath. You flip it right and brace yourself. It's not the feel you dread. It's the moment you pull it over your head, and the smell wraps around your face like a wet rag. You take a shallow breath and do it anyway. The tunic resists, as if it doesn't want to be worn again, but you force it down. You slide the tunic over your head and instantly regret it. The fabric clings to your arms, damp and scratchy. Your skin prickles in protest. You try not to think about the smell, but it rises all the same. Something between mildew, urine, and that sour skin staleness that lives in cloth too long worn. You gag slightly but push through it. The sleeves twist as you pull them down, sticking where yesterday's sweat dried and set. You pull the neckline straight and let the hem fall to your thighs. Your trousers aren't any better. You slept in them too. They're stiff from wear, thin in the seat, patched at the knees. You slide them up slowly, careful not to tear the seam that's already threatening. You tuck the tunic in mostly and let the rest hang. There's no right way to wear anything anymore. Just ways that don't fall apart while you move. Your elbows itch. Your knees feel raw. The clothing touches skin that hasn't healed from the last workday. You scratch, and fibers come off under your nails. You fumble with the belt. Not a belt, really, just a rope with too many knots. You loop it through the same tear you always do and cinch it until your gut aches. The knot holds barely. You pat at your sides, checking for your knife, your pouch, the few things you never leave without. One slipper's missing again. You find it under the straw, warm from a rat's visit. You slide it on and try not to think about it. Your toes curl against the lining, worn to threads. You reach for your cloak, the same one you use as a blanket, and shake it out. It's heavier with damp than with fabric. The corners are frayed, the edges caked with mud from 3 days ago. You drape it over your shoulders and tie the cord. The knot never sits right. You tuck the extra length inside, feel it scratch against your chest. You pull the hood halfway up and let it fall back. It doesn't stay. Nothing ever stays. You crouch and gather a few loose things. Your cap, your bag, your dried scrap of leather. They all smell like you. Or worse. You finish dressing without ceremony. There's no mirror to check, no reason to care. The clothes hang from you, shapeless and tired. You stink, you know it. But so does everyone. The smell isn't personal, it's shared. You smell like a room that's never aired, like days stacked on top of each other with no pause between. You smell like effort and dirt and cold. You adjust your sleeves again, and the seam splits a little more. You don't bother fixing it. There's work to do. You pull your hood up, even though it blocks your side vision. It's warmer that way. You take a deep breath and nearly choke on your own scent. You swallow hard, then open the door and step outside. The chill hits your face and mixes with the warmth trapped in your clothing. It's worse now, like something cooked. But you walk forward anyway. Your feet drag a little. The clothes hang heavy, but they're all you have. All you'll have tomorrow, too. The day begins with the stink of your own skin and ends the same way. Always has. Always will. Grab your tool and head to the field. No one reminds you. No one waits. The others are already gone. Your brother, your neighbor, even the old man with the limp. The light outside is weak, barely enough to see by, but you know the path. You've walked it every day since you could carry weight. You crouch by the door and reach for your tool. It's always in the same spot, leaning against the beam. A shovel today. Or is it the hoe? You take whatever's dry enough to grip. The handle is worn smooth from hands, the iron head dulled by stone. You shift it in your palm and wipe the dew off the wood with your sleeve. The knot of the binding still scratches your hand, but you ignore it. You've ignored worse. You swing it over your shoulder and adjust your cloak. The strap pulls against your collarbone. You tug it forward and step outside, where the day hasn't started, but the work already has. You sling the tool over your shoulder and step outside. The cold doesn't bite anymore. It just sinks. You cross the yard, hop over the trough, and nod at the goat still tied by the post. It bleats like it knows you're leaving. The ground squishes underfoot. Every step a soft protest from the mud. You follow the line of trampled grass, past 3 huts, past the well, past the old cart that hasn't moved since harvest. No one speaks. No one waves. Everyone is busy, or gone, or pretending not to see you. The chill seeps into your shoes. You curl your toes, but they don't warm. You shift the tool to your other shoulder and press forward. Your back is already sore from yesterday, and the path feels longer than usual. You take a breath through your nose. It smells like wet straw and old ash. Somewhere in the distance, someone coughs. Somewhere else, a rooster cries again, later than it should. You ignore them both and keep walking. The field isn't far, but it's never near enough. The road curves and narrows, choked by brambles and the bones of last season's work. You duck under low limbs, step around a puddle that looks deeper than it should, and keep moving. The sky is still colorless. Your breath is visible. Birds flit above, too quick to track. You grip the tool tighter as your shoulder begins to ache. There's no cart, no horse, no help. Just you. Just your legs. Just your hands and your day. The dirt ahead is already turned in places, clumped and soaked. Someone's footprints lead the way. You step into them. Your boots sink a little deeper. The weight of the tool drags at your back. Your arm begins to throb from the same pressure you've felt every day this month. You flex your fingers and hear the knuckles crack. You switch sides again. The shovel bangs against your hip. A dog runs past you on the side of the path, barking once and then gone. You say nothing. The morning doesn't need your voice. You reach the edge of the field and pause. Rows stretch out like scars, long and damp and waiting. You hear the distant sound of metal against stone, of voices carried by the wind. You're late, but not enough to matter. You plant your tool in the soil and flex your fingers. Cold, stiff, slow. You look down the row that'll be yours today. Long, uneven, heavy with the memory of rain. There's no instruction, no supervisor, just labor. You draw in a breath through your nose and cough. The air is thick with mist and the smell of manure. You step forward, find your place, and raise the tool. The handle is slick, the wood grooved by fingers that died before you were born. You lift it and strike the earth. The sound is dull. The mud resists. You try again and again. The field doesn't care if you're ready. It doesn't care if your back hurts or your hands split or your stomach is still empty. You do the work because it's what there is. You keep digging because stopping would be worse. You work until midday. No break. No bell rings. No one says stop. You simply go until the sun moves high enough to guess that it might be halfway. You grip the tool and bend low, back screaming before the first row is halfway done. The soil clumps heavy in your hands, damp and sticky from last night's rain. Every scoop takes part of your strength. You drag it, lift it, throw it aside, and begin again. The wind is light but constant. It cuts through your tunic like a knife, leaving your spine cold and your chest damp. You shift from foot to foot, trying to stay warm, trying to stay upright. Your knees shake with each movement. You forget your name for a moment, but remember the motion. Forward, down, scoop, lift, repeat. The rhythm keeps you from falling apart. The ground doesn't care who you are. It only demands labor. You breathe through your mouth. Your nose is too clogged with dust and cold air to be useful. The others are ahead, already a row or two farther. They don't talk. Conversation wastes breath, and there isn't enough of that. A cough here, a grunt there. That's all. You hear your own heartbeat louder than the wind. Your hands blister before you notice. Then you notice too much. The sting with every grip. The way the blood smears along the handle and dries in tiny flakes. You shift your hold, try to work around the pain, but the tool demands its price. You keep going. You always keep going. Your legs tremble under you, but they hold. Your mouth is dry. Your lips crack when you purse them. You run your tongue over the blood and pretend it's something warm. It isn't. You watch your breath turn to mist in front of your face. You wish you could drink it back in. You hear someone sigh, or maybe groan, but you don't look. Looking slows you down. Your neck is stiff anyway. You pause only to switch arms or stretch your back, never long enough to rest. If you stop too long, you tighten up. If you breathe too slow, your chest burns, so you move. Like water in a rut, always flowing, always forward. Your fingers cramp, your wrists ache. You taste dirt in your mouth, and it's not just from the wind. At some point, you must have wiped your face with a hand that was more soil than skin. Your knees pop when you shift your weight. Your thighs throb. Your feet? You stopped feeling them. They're just blocks now. Blocks that push you forward and somehow hold your weight. You notice the mud inside your boot only when it squelches. And even then, you don't stop. There's a cut on your thumb that wasn't there this morning. It stings every time you grip the handle. You keep gripping. The pain tells you you're still awake, still alive. You wonder if that's supposed to be a blessing. You don't decide. When the sun crests overhead, you still don't stop. The rhythm carries you. The line of work stretches ahead, endless and indifferent. You no longer count rows or clumps or tools. You count shovelfuls, just to trick yourself into thinking there's a number you can finish at. 70, 71, 72. Someone coughs again. Someone else mutters a prayer under their breath. You keep digging. Your shadow's at its shortest now. That's the only clock you trust. You grip the handle again, even though your fingers want to let go. You shift your weight to the other leg. It doesn't help, nothing helps. There's a sliver of sun on the tip of your tool now, a bright spot in all the dull. You glance up and the light stabs your eyes. You blink and look down again. You return to the earth, always the earth. Bent forward, shaped by labor, tethered by hunger, no break, no rest, just dirt and time, and the slow ticking of a body breaking. Lunch. Bread if you're lucky, and warm beer. Not a break, just a pause. You stop because you have to, not because you're allowed. The work doesn't end, it waits. You sit on a stone or the ground, or a broken stump someone dragged near the field months ago. You lean forward, elbows on your knees, and pull out what passes for food. A hunk of bread. Hard at the edges, soft in the middle if you're lucky. Sometimes it's not even yours, passed from hand to hand that morning, from someone else's wife, someone else's oven. You don't ask. Bread is bread. You tear off a piece with your fingers, not your teeth. They're too sore. The crust resists. You push your thumb through the middle and twist. It's dense, like it was baked from memory, not flour. A few crumbs fall into your lap. You gather them up carefully and press them into your palm. Waste nothing. You put them on your tongue like they matter. You chew slowly, not to savor it, but to make it last. Your jaw aches. Your throat scratches. The bread tastes like dust and fingers, but you keep chewing. A crust breaks off and lands in your lap. You pick it up and eat it anyway. You drink from the same tin cup you carried all morning. The beer's warm now. Flat, sour, tinged with something you don't name. You swish it once, then swallow. It washes down the bread, kind of. You look around. No one speaks. A few men sit like you. A woman cradles a child beside the path, wiping his nose with a piece of her sleeve. Someone closer mumbles a few words you don't catch. Another scratches at their arm and stares into the dirt. A dog appears out of nowhere, sniffs your foot, then disappears again. The field hums with absence, the silence after effort, the quiet before more of the same. You pick at the corner of your bread again, then pause. You can hear your heartbeat in your ears. You chew slower. The noise doesn't fade. You sit hunched, your back pulsing with the work of the morning. The tool rests nearby, still in reach, still ready. You keep glancing at it, as if it'll go away if you don't blink. It doesn't. Your fingers twitch on your knee, mimicking the grip. Your mind won't settle. You don't think about food. You think about the next row. How much is left? How long until dark? Whether the rain will come back before you finish. A crow calls above you and you flinch, though there's no reason. The sky is flat gray, the sun somewhere behind it. Your cloak barely covers your shoulders. You hunch deeper into yourself and pull your sleeves down, though they've already shrunk from wear. A breeze stirs the grass beside your foot, and you see a spider crawling over the blade. You watch it for longer than you mean to. It moves like it knows what it's doing. You envy that. You look away, chew another bite, and wonder if spiders ever starve. You finish the last bite and set the crust beside you. Maybe you'll eat it later. Maybe not. You tilt the tin up and drain the last of the beer. A drop lingers at the bottom. You tilt it again. Nothing. You wipe your mouth with the back of your hand and rise slowly. Your knees complain. Your spine protests. But you rise. The others do too. No signal, no word, just movement. You reach for the tool. Your fingers close around the handle like they never left it. You take one last breath before standing fully. Your stomach isn't full, but it's not empty either. That's enough. You nod once to no one in particular and step forward. The field waits. The row you left unfinished is still there, same as you left it. You fall back into place like you never left. The pause is over. The day isn't. Not even close. And lunch? It wasn't lunch. It was just a different kind of work. Just a different way to survive. Another 4 or 5 hours in the field. The sun has shifted just enough to give you hope, but not enough to offer relief. The breeze doesn't cool you anymore. It carries dust, grit, and the smell of nearby waste. You lift the tool again, the same motion, over and over. Dig, haul, clear, repeat. Your palms are raw. The blisters from the morning have burst. There's no clean cloth to wrap them in, just grime and callus and pain. You grip anyway. What else is there to do? You switch hands, but one is no better than the other. Each squeeze sends a pulse up your arm. The handle is sticky now. Blood, sweat, something else. You don't care. You work. You shift your stance, drive your weight forward, tear up another patch of earth. The sun presses down on the back of your neck. Your tunic clings to you like wet paper. You smell yourself. It's worse than the field. You stop thinking about the field as a place. It becomes a shape, a slope, a direction. You go forward, not because there's purpose, but because backward doesn't exist. You fall into rhythm again, not out of strength, but out of absence. You forget your back until it spasms. You forget your shoulder until it refuses to lift. You lean into the motion, push with your legs, anchor with your hips. Your breath comes hard. Your tongue tastes copper. The others around you grunt and move. The ground gives only what you take. You clear another patch, another. You try not to think about time. Time is an enemy now. Slow when you want it fast. Fast when you want to rest. You dig like you're chasing something. Maybe the end. Maybe nothing. Maybe just not thinking for a while. Your hands keep moving even when your mind goes blank. That's the goal, isn't it? Blank. Not empty. Just too tired to care. Your shirt sticks to your back. Your sleeves are stiff with sweat. The wind dries nothing. It just moves it around. You smell your body and wince. You haven't bathed in weeks, maybe more. You've stopped counting. You pause once to shake your hands out. It barely helps. The ache is deep now. In the joints, in the bones. You blink and your vision swims. The sun flickers between clouds and everything looks yellow. You wipe your forehead with your forearm. Dirt smears across your face. You drag the tool again. It catches on a root. You curse, not aloud, just in your teeth. You kick at the earth and it gives slightly. You lean your whole weight into the next pull. The root comes loose with a snap, but the effort costs you. Something twinges in your side. You straighten slowly. It hurts to breathe. You look around. No one saw. No one helps. You lower yourself again and go on. There's nothing else. Then you keep going. The light shifts again. Shadows stretch longer. The field feels wider. Your hands slip more often. The sores sting. You try to hold the tool differently, awkwardly, just to press on new skin. You grunt when you lift, groan when you push, but you don't stop. There's no one to relieve you, no second shift. This is it. You finish one row and start another. You reach the end and look back, and it's already fading from memory. The land doesn't remember you, and you don't remember the land. It's just shape and weight and motion. You scrape your heel on a stone. You stumble. You recover. The others keep working, heads down, silent. You do the same. The light softens, but not enough. The air cools, but too slow. Your skin crawls with salt and dust. You look up once, just once, and see the sky beginning to turn. You take a breath, grip the tool tighter, and dig again. Because the day isn't over. Because you are. But you keep going. Home. Knee-deep in mud. Pigs squealing and people yelling. You drag your feet more than walk. The path from the field is shorter than it felt this morning, but only because you can't afford to notice it. You move through the same thickets, past the same huts, but now everything is louder. Chickens scatter underfoot. A dog barks from a doorway. Someone shouts your name, or maybe someone else's. You don't turn. You keep going. You smell smoke and fat and wet straw. You see figures moving in the shadows beside you, talking fast, waving their hands, always rushing. You step over a rope, duck under a hanging skin, and finally come into view of the yard. It's chaos, every evening is. No one organizes. No one manages. It just happens. A tangle of tasks, bodies, voices. You're a part of it whether you want to be or not. You step into the yard and it's chaos. A child runs past you crying. A woman dumps water from a bucket, splashing your leg. A pig squeals as it's pulled toward the pen. You dodge sideways and nearly trip. Your boots sink deeper into the muck. The ground here never dries. It just churns and thickens. The smell is worse than the field. Worse because it's closer. Familiar. Home is not peace. Home is a storm that never moves. You keep your head down and shuffle forward. The door to your hut is open. There's no privacy to close. Just cloth or wood or nothing. You glance inside. There's no welcome. Just walls. The mud doesn't stop at the threshold. It follows you in, lives in the corners, seeps through every board. Someone shouts behind you. You don't respond. You're too tired to care if it was your name. Inside, it's not quiet, just darker. The fire is low. The air is thick with smoke and sweat. You see outlines. Someone stirring a pot. Someone else sitting by the wall, coughing into a rag. Your place is still there. A corner, some straw, a plank for sitting. You drop your tool and rub your face. Your fingers come away black. You sit. The room tilts slightly before it steadies. You hear the sounds of life but don't respond. Someone speaks to you. You nod without understanding. You close your eyes, but only for a second. They burn too much to keep shut. Your back throbs in waves. Your fingers twitch even now, trying to grip. You stretch your legs, but not all the way. There's no space. Someone's foot touches yours. No one moves. You're all used to it. Space is a luxury. Movement is a burden. You sit still because it hurts less. Outside, the yelling continues. The pigs never stop. The wind has picked up again, and now it carries cold into the hut. Someone shuts the door, but the draft stays. You think about taking off your boots, but don't. They're part of your legs now. You rest your arms on your knees and lower your head. You breathe through your mouth to block out the stink. It doesn't help. You hear a baby cry and someone shush it. You hear a pot boil over and someone curse. You hear your own breath, slow, heavy, worn. You try to remember if you finished your row. You think you did, or close enough. It doesn't matter now. Tomorrow it'll be there again, or another one. The field doesn't run out. You scratch your arm and feel a welt. You don't know what bit you. You don't care. You stare at the fire, then past it. Your vision blurs, not from tears, from everything else. And still, the pigs squeal, the people yell, and the mud keeps seeping in. You need to carry water, one wooden bucket, twice if needed. No one tells you to. Everyone just knows. The fire needs it. The pot needs it. Someone's going to want to drink. Someone's going to bleed. And water doesn't wait by the door. The well is down the path, past the pen, past the smokehouse, past the weeds that never get pulled. You grab the bucket, always the same one. Wooden, patched, gray from age. It leaks from the base, but only a little, enough to matter. The handle creaks when you lift it. One nail sticks out and scratches your wrist if you hold it wrong. You never fixed it. No time. No better tools. You cradle the handle in your palm and flex your fingers, already sore, already tired, but there's no way around it. You start walking. Slow steps, left, right, mud. The rope you bring is stiff and cracked. You loop it around your shoulder, then think better of it. It bit last time, cut a welt deep into your collarbone that bled through your tunic. You carry it in one hand and the bucket in the other. The path to the well is narrow, worn by years of feet like yours. The ground is uneven. Stones stick up where they shouldn't. You stumble once, catch yourself, say nothing. The air is still, no breeze now, just the sound of animals and boots in the distance. You round the corner and see the well, a slumped wooden frame, darker than it used to be. Moss climbs one side. The pulley looks bent. You check the edge. No one there. You set down the rope, the bucket, and crack your knuckles. You spit into the grass and rub your palm. Doesn't help. You grab the rope, tie it tight, and drop the bucket in. At the well, you set the bucket down and let the rope unwind. You tie the end with your best knot, which isn't much. You lower it slowly, listening for the splash. The pulley groans, wood against wood. A click, a jerk. The bucket hits the water and drifts sideways. You wait. You pull. The weight tells you it's full, or at least not empty. You haul hand over hand. Rope burns across your fingers. You wince. You grip tighter. The bucket rises, dripping, swaying. You lean back as you pull, bracing yourself with your heels. One slip and it's all wasted. You've done that before. You don't want to do it again. The bucket clears the rim. You slide it to the edge and brace it with your foot. You peer inside. Floating things. Mud at the bottom. You shrug. You've drunk worse. You lift the bucket. It's heavier now, awkward. The wood leaks at the seam. Not fast. Just enough to make you hurry. You check the water. Leaves. A beetle. Some silt. You shrug. It's better than nothing. You start the walk back. The bucket sloshes with every step. The handle cuts into your palm. You don't shift it. Shifting only makes it worse. The water leaks, a steady drip marking your trail. You don't look at it. You look at the yard ahead. The second trip waits if someone says it's not enough. No one will thank you. No one will notice. But if there's no water, everyone complains. You limp slightly now, foot sore from a stone earlier. You make it back to the hut and set the bucket down near the door. Someone glances at it, then away. You stretch your hand and watch the red line the handle left across your palm. You wait. Maybe someone will use it soon. Maybe they won't. You look at the trail behind you, still wet from the leak. Then you look at the bucket again. Still not full. You sigh and pick it up, time to go back. Evening chores, feed, dung, lock up animals. The field may be behind you, but the work isn't. The moment you return with water, you're pulled into another rhythm. No time to sit, no time to wash. You hear the pigs before you see them, snorting, squealing, rubbing their bodies along the pen like they want to break through it. They're hungry, always. You grab the bucket of scraps, old roots, moldy bread, bits too foul for human mouths, and slop it into their trough. They fight over it. Shoulders slam, teeth flash. One nearly climbs over the other. The smell is thick and hot. You wrinkle your nose and step back. A splash hits your leg. You don't bother wiping it. You move on. There's no pause between tasks, no breath, just direction, just duty. The chickens are scattered. You count as you move, 1, 2, 3, checking for the familiar speckled ones, the limping one, the tiny gray one that always hides behind the woodpile. You toss a handful of grain into the dirt. They cluck and peck and flap. One flies at your hand, beak first. You swat it away and curse. You bend to gather eggs, moving slow. The hens squawk in protest. A sharp beak clips your knuckle. It bleeds. You suck the skin and keep going. One egg is cracked, but you take it anyway. A cracked egg is still an egg. You tuck them into your shirt, careful not to crush them. The coop smells of feathers and droppings and damp straw. You shoo the last hen inside and drop the bar across the door. Something rustles under the floorboards, but you don't look. Whatever it is can stay there. Next is the cow. She's old, slow, smells like everything. Hay, rot, sweat. You call softly, then louder. She doesn't move until she's ready. You tug the rope. She blinks. You pull again. She takes a step, then another. You guide her toward the shed. She stops once to rub her head against the fence post. You sigh and wait. You hear someone yell in the distance, but it's not for you. You urge her forward, step by step, until she's inside. You tie her loosely. Too tight, and she'll panic. Too loose, and she'll wander. You brush her side with your hand. She shivers. You check her legs. One's cut, just a little. A scrape. You'll clean it tomorrow. Maybe. You toss a few handfuls of hay into the corner and hope she eats. The trough's half full from earlier. You think. You don't check. You're already turning away. Then the manure. You can't skip it. It piles quick, and the smell gets worse when the left. You find the shovel. The handle is slick with grease or something worse. You dig in. Heavy. Wet. It clings to the wood. You gag once, then again. You breathe through your mouth, but it doesn't help. You carry it in armfuls to the pile behind the hut. It steams slightly in the cool air. Flies swarm. You wave them off. You shovel again. You scrape the floor of the pen, every board, every corner. You wipe your forehead with your sleeve. The sweat mixes with stink and dust. You pause to lean on the shovel just for a second. Your back screams. Your hands throb. You look toward the fading light. The sun is nearly gone, but the pigs are fed, the chickens locked, the cow tied, the dung mostly cleared. It's not rest, but it's something like an ending. And that's all you can ask for. Inside, smoke, soot, fire heat. You duck beneath the low door frame and step back into the house. The air hits you first, heavy, smoky, sour. It clings to your skin like steam, but doesn't move. The fire's been burning all day, but the warmth doesn't spread. It just sits in the middle of the room, suffocating and dull. Someone has added wet wood, maybe dung. The smoke rises, curls, hangs. It doesn't leave. There's no chimney, just a hole that doesn't work. Your eyes sting instantly. You don't blink. It only makes it worse. The light inside is strange, orange and gray at once. Everything flickers, nothing is sharp. The soot on the walls has thickened again. You smell it, taste it, breathe it. You wonder, idly, how much black is in your lungs now. It doesn't matter. You step forward. The fire crackles. Something drips into it. It hisses. The walls are too close. You squeeze between legs, arms, hunched backs. Everyone's in. No room left outside. Chickens scratch underfoot. A goat bleats from the corner. You don't remember when it came in. A pot hangs over the fire, bubbling something gray. It smells of onions, turnips, maybe meat. Maybe not. The children are loud, crying, whining, hitting each other over a piece of cloth. You step past them. One grabs your leg. You shake it loose. A woman snaps at the kids. A man yells at the woman. A baby starts to cry. No one wins. You hear a cough that doesn't stop. Someone wheezes. Someone spits. You press your way to the back, to a corner that's slightly drier than the rest. You sit, not because you can rest, but because standing means being in someone's way. Someone stirs the pot and wipes their forehead with a sleeve that's already soaked. The room feels smaller than it did this morning. It always does by night. You sit, not on a chair. There are none. Just a wooden block someone shaped years ago. You lean forward, elbows on knees, and breathe shallow. It's all you can do. The noise never stops. The fire pops. A baby screams. Someone shouts outside. A pot scrapes on the hearth. It's not chaos. It's life. Normal. Daily. The background sound of surviving. You look around. Everyone's here, but no one speaks to you. They're too busy, or too tired, or both. You close your eyes for a second and feel the heat on your skin, thick and greasy. You shift your foot, something squishes under it. You don't look. You don't care. A woman begins humming, a lullaby maybe, and it almost works. The sound cuts through the clamor, but only for a moment. Then it's gone again, drowned in more arguing, more coughing, more movement. You rest your head in your hands. Your fingertips smell like rope and pig. You don't wipe them. The floor is dirt. The walls sweat. The ceiling drips if it rains too long. You listen to the wind whistle through the gaps in the boards. You see the way shadows flicker on every surface. Someone stirs the pot and sighs. Someone else opens the door and shuts it just as fast. Cold air rushes in for a breath, then disappears. You wish it stayed. You rub your hands together, not to warm them, but to shake off the stickiness. The room smells of feet, ash, wet wool. You adjust your seat. You shift your back. Your bones grind against themselves. You glance at the door. Still closed. Someone steps over you, carrying a child. The child cries, then stops, then cries again. You think of outside, of silence maybe, but it's too cold, too dark. You stay where you are, in the heat, in the smoke, in the noise, because this is home, because you have no other, because tomorrow comes whether you want it or not. Dinner. Same porridge as this morning, maybe worse. It's thick, clumpy, lukewarm. Someone ladles it from the pot into a wooden bowl with a dark ring around the rim. You've seen that stain before. It never goes away. You take the bowl and sit where you were. There's no ceremony, no thanks, no waiting for everyone to be served. Whoever's closest eats first. You don't need to be told twice. Your hands are cold. You hold the bowl anyway. The steam rises slowly, like it doesn't want to be here either. You blow on the surface, not to cool it. It's already cool, but out of habit. The smell is faint, almost nothing. You take your first bite and feel your jaw tighten. Your teeth ache. The texture is soft, then suddenly hard. Something cracks. You wince, but you swallow. You chew slowly. The porridge sticks to your teeth. There's a crunch, a husk maybe, or a stone. You swallow without checking. The second bite is cooler. The third is cold. Someone speaks beside you, but you don't hear the words. You nod anyway. You're too focused on swallowing. The flavor is nothing. The texture is everything. You shift your weight on the block of wood and brace the bowl with your knee. A child reaches for your spoon. You pull it away. They whine, then get distracted by something else. You glance at the pot, still half full. No one dares ask for more. More means less for someone else. You look down and keep eating, one scoop at a time. The bowl is rough, the edge chipped. You run your thumb over the groove worn into the side. You've done that before. Every night. Same bowl, same food, same silence. You glance around. No one's smiling. No one ever smiles during meals. Not at dinner. It's not joy, it's not comfort. It's a chore. Like digging or hauling or cleaning the cow's wound. The porridge tastes faintly of smoke. Maybe from the pot. Maybe from the air. You scrape the bottom. Bits have stuck. You chip them off and chew, harder than the rest. But it's food. You eat it. One scoop left. You stare at it for a while. You want to save it, but not for any reason. Just to not finish. You eat it. You set the spoon inside the bowl and exhale through your nose. Someone finishes beside you and stands. Their knees crack. They walk to the wall and sit again, not saying anything. You hear someone ask for salt. There is none. No one even bothers to answer. A baby fusses, but doesn't cry. Tired even for that. The bowl stays in your hands. You don't want to let it go, not out of attachment, out of inertia. Letting go means standing up, doing something, moving. You're not ready. The fire has faded. The room feels darker. Someone coughs again. Someone snores in the corner. You rest your head back against the wall. Your stomach doesn't feel full, but it's not empty either. Just still. Just quiet. You rub your hand along the edge of the bowl, feeling the groove where your thumb always sits. Someone says your name. You pretend not to hear. You close your eyes, just for a moment. A draft moves through the room. The fire crackles. The spoon slips sideways. You don't pick it up. You hear the scrape of another bowl against stone. More movement. More quiet. You open your eyes again. Nothing's changed. You look at the bowl one more time, then finally set it down. Dinner is done. Or close enough. The priest speaks from outside. Or someone prays aloud. The words reach you through the walls, broken by wind and smoke. A rhythm more than a message. Something slow. Repetitive. A chant, maybe. Or just tired breath shaped into words that once meant something. You don't look up, no one does. The voice isn't angry. It isn't soft. It just is. Like rain on the roof or pigs in the yard. Background. Familiar. One more thing that fills the space. The fire pops. A spoon clinks. The baby cries again. The voice carries on. You can't make out all the words, but you recognize the shape of them. Sin, suffering, soul, always the same. A kind of lullaby no one asked for. One that doesn't calm, just continues. He's talking about sin now, about fire, darkness, judgment. You've heard it before. Everyone has. Some nod. Some whisper a word or two in reply. Some stare at the floor. You shift your weight. Your foot's gone numb. You tap it against the dirt. Someone lights another scrap of wood. Smoke thickens. The voice continues. No one interrupts. It's not respect, it's routine. You know the ending before it comes. Something about mercy. Something about the next life. The room is too hot, then too cold, then hot again. You scratch your arm. Something bit you earlier, you think. Or maybe it's just nerves. You try to listen, really listen. But the words slide past. Not because they're soft, because they're too known, too worn down. Like everything else here. Maybe he's not a priest. Maybe just the old man who remembers the words. The real priest left months ago, or died, or ran. You don't remember. It doesn't matter. The voice is what counts, the rhythm, the sound. You close your eyes and hear the cracks in it. Pauses, coughs, throat clearing. He's tired, like everyone else, but he keeps going. A boy near the wall mouths the words silently, like a game. You wonder if he knows what they mean. You wonder if anyone does. The smoke makes your eyes water. You blink, but don't wipe them. Someone near the door mutters a prayer of their own. Not the same one. Just something soft. Directed nowhere in particular. You hear it. Then you forget it. You stare at the fire. It flares, dies down, flares again. You don't speak. You don't move. The voice starts the same lines again. Maybe it's ending. Maybe not. You've lost track. A woman hums softly, out of sync. Someone mutters a complaint and is hushed. You stare at the fire. The logs shift. Ash falls. The chanting slows. You hear the final lines, but they don't land. They just pass. The voice stops. The air holds still for a second, then moves again. Life fills the gap. A chair scrapes. A cough explodes. The baby starts again. The fire flares once, then settles. You rub your face and feel soot on your cheek. You think about the voice, about the silence that followed. You don't feel peace, you don't feel guilt. You feel nothing, really. Just the heat of the room and the ache in your knees. Another prayer done. Another night almost over. But not yet. It's already dark, but work isn't done. You sit by the fire with a torn sleeve in your lap. The needle is bent, the thread coarse and uneven. You squint to see it, holding it up to the flame, but the light dances too much. You thread it by feel more than sight. It takes several tries. Your fingers are clumsy, cold, cracked. The fabric is stiff, soaked with old sweat and dirt. It smells of everything you did today. You push the needle through and pull. It sticks. You tug harder. The thread frays. You knot it tighter. The tear's too wide, but you stitch anyway. It won't look good. That's not the goal. It just needs to hold. You adjust your position, shifting closer to the hearth, careful not to knock over the bowl at your feet. There's something growing in it. You don't ask. Someone hands you another piece to mend, a sock with a hole big enough for 2 toes. You sigh. No one speaks. Everyone's busy. A man sharpens a blade against stone. Scrape, scrape, scrape. The rhythm is steady, soothing in a strange way. A child sorts twigs by length, short ones for kindling, long ones for later. The baby finally sleeps. Someone mumbles a counting rhyme, slow and off-key. You don't look up. Your fingers keep moving, stitch after stitch. The light flickers. You try not to notice how fast the oil is burning. Someone picks at a splinter with a knife. Another checks the edge of a hoe. You listen to them, not the words, the motions. The normal, endless motions that fill the space until sleep is allowed. The dog whines in its sleep. You ignore it. You thread another needle. The patch doesn't match the sleeve. Doesn't matter. It holds. That's enough. You hold it up, squint again, nod once, then move on to the next tear. You don't think while you work. Thinking takes energy you don't have. You remember your mother's hands doing this, or someone's hands. You're not sure anymore. The motion is the same. Needle in, pull through, tighten, over and over. You listen to the others breathe, to the scraping and rustling and shifting. A log falls in the fire. Sparks jump, and you flinch out of habit. No one else reacts. They've all seen it, felt it, been burned once, then learned. You reach for more twigs and feed the flame carefully. It flares, then calms. Your eyes sting, not from the smoke this time, but from the focus. The stitch is crooked. Doesn't matter. You pause to blow on your fingers. They sting. You drop the needle into your lap and roll your shoulders. They pop. You stretch your neck and feel something crack. You stand to stretch, then sit back down. Your knees complain. The fire's low now. You'll need to add wood soon, or maybe you won't. Maybe you'll just finish what you can and sleep cold. You glance toward the door. Still shut. Still dark outside. No moon. Just black. You reach for another piece of cloth, another tool, another twig. The work continues, quietly, without purpose, just necessity. You don't remember a time when the evening meant rest, only more of what didn't get done. A new tear, a dull knife, a missing bootstrap. You keep your head low. The light is weak, but you see enough. Enough to keep going. Enough to finish one more thing before everything disappears again. You lie down in the same clothes, in the same position. The room hasn't changed. Neither have you. The fire is low now, just a glow beneath ash. You brush aside a chicken as you make your way to the wall. Someone's already stretched out there, so you choose another spot. It doesn't matter. They're all the same. You lower yourself slowly, knees aching, back stiff. Your breath escapes before you can stop it. A low grunt. No one notices or cares. You curl into the shape you always do, on your side, one hand under your head, the other on your ribs. The floor is uneven. A root pokes your hip. You shift. It follows. You shift again. Still there. Eventually, you stop noticing it. Not because it goes away, because everything else begins to blur with it. The straw is damp. It always is. You shift your hips to avoid the worst of it, but it finds you anyway. The smell is stronger at night, more concentrated. Sweat, dirt, smoke, and something older, something sour. You breathe through your mouth for a while. It doesn't help. You can feel the lice already. Tiny pricks at your scalp, your wrists, behind your knees. You scratch without thinking. Then again, then harder. Your skin is raw in places. Doesn't matter. You pull the same blanket, if it can be called that, over your legs. It covers part of you. Barely. The fabric is thin, stiff, and damp on the edges. You wrap it tighter. It makes little difference. Your elbows bump someone. They grunt and roll away. You apologize, though no one responds. You settle again. Closer to the wall now. You exhale into the straw. It smells like mold. The sounds don't stop. A child murmurs in sleep. Someone coughs, deep and rattling. A creak, a rustle, a sniff. The wind outside finds cracks in the wall and slides through. Cold fingers on your face. You pull the blanket higher, but it barely covers your shoulder. You tuck your arms inside. Your toes curl. You listen for silence, but it never comes, not fully. You shift again, looking for less straw or more. You don't know, just different. Your back touches the wall. It's damp. You move an inch away, but the floor there is colder. You settle in the middle, not comfortable, not warm, just less bad. Someone farts. Someone laughs in their sleep. You close your eyes again. You picture the fire when it was full earlier, the way the orange reached your hands. It doesn't help. Your eyes adjust to the dark. You can make out shapes now. People, mostly still, some curled, some sprawled. You wonder if they're asleep, if they'll ever really be. You stare at the ceiling. You trace the beams. You count them. Then start over. Your stomach groans once, then settles. You're not hungry, but you're not full. You feel the weight of the day pressing into your joints, your ribs, your thoughts. You close your eyes. The lice don't stop. The cold doesn't lift. But you stop noticing, bit by bit, like sinking, not into sleep, into something duller, slower. You hear your breath now, shallow, repeating. That helps. You don't move again. You don't think again. You just lie there, in the same clothes, on the same straw, with the same air, until it all fades, or until someone coughs again, whichever comes first. You hear rats, neighbors, everything. Sleep doesn't come quickly. It never does. Your eyes are closed, but your ears remain sharp, too sharp. The scratching in the corner starts first, soft, rhythmic, not quite urgent, but steady. A rat or two, maybe 3. You picture them in your mind without trying. Their slick fur, beady eyes, claws tapping over dirt and wood. They're looking for crumbs, old cloth, warmth, same as you. One scurries under a bench, knocking something loose. A tin cup? You don't open your eyes to check. Someone shifts beside you. A low grunt. Then stillness again. Then a wheeze. Every noise fills the space. The room isn't silent. It's full of lives, of breath, of weight. You lie still, but the air moves. You breathe it in. You wish it were quieter. It never is. Someone nearby coughs again. Not the shallow kind, but the wet, deep kind. A lung's worth of trouble. You wonder if they'll last the winter. You wonder if you will. Another sound. A shuffle. Someone rolling over. Then a creak of wood. Maybe a bench shifting. Maybe a child sliding closer to warmth. You adjust your elbow, barely moving, but even that sends a crunch through the straw. Everything's loud when you're trying to sleep. Too loud. Someone murmurs a name. Another whispers something you can't catch. The fire cracks again. The door shifts in the wind, though it doesn't open. Nails groan in wood. You hear water drip somewhere. Maybe from a roof leak. Maybe from a bucket. You count the drops, then lose count. Then start again. Just to have something to do, and the rats are bolder now. One scrapes the wall behind your head. You flinch, but stay still. No use chasing them. They'll be back. You feel a flicker of air, fast, close. One ran past. It brushed your ankle. You stiffen, hold your breath, wait. Nothing happens. Just more sounds. You tell yourself it's normal, part of the night. You hear a bottle tip somewhere. A grunt. Someone stands, walks across the room. 3 steps. 4. The door opens, creaks, shuts. You wait again. Nothing else. The wind outside carries voices, not real ones, just air through gaps. But your brain makes words anyway. You hear them as whispers, as warnings, as things you forgot to do. You close your eyes tighter. It doesn't help. The sounds get inside you. They always do. You keep listening. That's all you can do. The fire crackles now and then. A stick breaks. A voice hums low, tuneless, half asleep. A baby whines, then settles. You feel every sound, like it touches you directly. Through skin, through ribs. You want silence, but you've never had it. Not here. Silence is a fantasy. A story priests tell about death. You open your eyes. It's darker now. Somehow. You roll slightly, pressing into straw that's no warmer than the air. Another squeak. Another breath. Another drip. You lose track of them all. But you don't stop hearing them, even when your limbs start to give in. Even when your thoughts slow. Even when your body begins to float. You hear it all, until you don't. Until the night becomes heavier than sound, and you forget what you were listening for. Your eyes close, not from peace, but from exhaustion. You don't sleep. You shut down. Your body gives in before your mind does. Muscles stop asking for comfort. Bones stop shifting. Even your skin, prickled from cold and lice, quiets. It isn't sleep, not really. It's more like surrender. A dimming, like coals under ash. You're still aware a little, enough to feel the ache in your knees, enough to notice when someone moves nearby or a rat skitters past. But the awareness drifts, fades, like breath on a cold window. You try not to think. Thought is heavy now. Too much. So you don't. You let your mind go slack, like your jaw, like your hands, like the rope someone left coiled by the fire. Not tied, not cut, just still. You might dream, but it doesn't feel like it. If you do, it's just pieces, flashes of work, of fire, of faces you half remember. They don't comfort you. They just pass through. The night is long, but not full. Time doesn't move here. You could open your eyes, and it'd be the same. You don't, though. You stay still, not out of choice, but because you don't have another option. You gave everything to the day. The cold wraps around your chest like a blanket of stone. Heavy, pressing. Your hands twitch once, then settle. Your back throbs, your neck burns. But nothing is sharp. Everything is muted. You are beneath the weight of it all. Not crushed, not broken. Just flat. Like something left under a cartwheel. You don't resist. You wouldn't know how. Around you, others breathe in strange patterns. Some wheeze, some snore. Some hold their breath longer than they should. No one moves much. Everyone has collapsed into their own version of this half-sleep. You share the space, but not the rest. There's no warmth to borrow. No quiet to settle into. Just layers of exhaustion stacked like bodies on a battlefield. You feel the weight of everyone's day pressing into the floor. You try to turn, but your back protests. So you don't. You let stillness keep you. You hear something fall outside. A chicken? A log? It doesn't matter. Nothing matters. The only truth left is that this is all there is. Not comfort, not warmth, just time, and the tiny space between effort and oblivion. You've reached it. You don't count hours. You don't mark dreams. You simply wait. Wait until the light starts to change, until someone stirs, until someone groans and sits up. That's how you know it's over. Not because you rested, but because it's time to rise again. Your eyes don't open quickly. They peel themselves apart. Your breath returns like a trickle. Your hands search for the wall to push yourself up. You don't think. Not yet. Thought comes later, after water, after food. Maybe. For now, you blink at nothing. You feel the straw beneath you. You feel the same cold in your chest. And you know it's beginning again. Another day. The same clothes, the same breath, the same questions unanswered. And you rise. Because there's nothing else to do.